He fired me 1 week before my promotion, not with regret, not with hesitation. He did it with a smile, like he'd waited months to watch me fall. He thought that moment would break me. He thought I'd walk out quietly. He thought his little power trip was the end of my story. But 90 seconds from now, you're going to see the exact moment the court wiped that smile off his face. You're going to watch a judge tear through every lie he built. You're going to hear the sound he made when he realized the truth wasn't just catching up. It was about to cost him $500K. And the best part? He never saw the evidence coming. I started that job hungry, hopeful, ready to prove I deserved every inch of the ground I stood on. I didn't know corporate predators didn't roar. They smiled. They shook your hand. They waited for you to trust them. Every morning felt like a sprint I didn't train for. Deadlines, reviews, expectations, all stacked like bricks on my back. And somehow, I kept running anyway. Then there was Carter, my boss, a man who acted like remembering my name was an optional courtesy. Ruby feedback landed like tiny cuts. You sure that's your best work? Maybe let someone more experienced handle this. Always soft voice, always sharp intent. He had a talent for slipping credit out of my hands. A client praised my report. He forwarded it to leadership with his initials on top. A process I improved, he presented it while I sat 3 seats away, invisible. He loved watching me scramble, loved leaning back in his glass office, sipping coffee while I plugged holes he created. Flattened me. He was grooming me for blame. Every small win I earned, he dismantled piece by piece. Change the metric. Shift the deadline. Move the goalpost 2 inches to the left. Just to keep things fair, he'd say. When I stayed late, he said I lacked efficiency. When I finished early, he said I lacked drive. When I worked weekends, he said I lacked boundaries. There was no winning, only surviving. As the promotion season got close, coworkers whispered like they were sharing good luck. Afflict. You're a lock. It's yours. Leadership loves you. Carter heard those whispers too. His eyes tightened every time someone praised me. That's when the air around him changed, colder, heavier. Then came the email, an accidental forward, flooring, where he mocked my ideas to senior leadership, called my work basic. Remodeling me would be charity. He didn't apologize. He laughed, said, "Oops, happens," and walked away like he'd dropped a napkin, not a knife. I should have seen the setup forming. The lunch meetings I wasn't invited to. The reports he lost minutes before presentations. The client called where he muted me and told them I was having connection issues. I wasn't clueless, just hopeful, dangerously hopeful. I kept swallowing it, telling myself hard work would save me, that being good at my job would shield me, that fairness still existed somewhere. But Carter wasn't just cruel. He was strategic. He was planning a fall I wouldn't recover from. The day HR asked for my performance logs, they smiled like nothing was wrong. Too polite, too prepared. My stomach dropped before I even sat down. Behind those smiles was something sharp, something hidden, something engineered. Because I wasn't walking into a review, I was walking into a trap. And that plan I wasn't supposed to survive? It was about to explode. Promotion week finally arrived. The office buzzed like it already knew the outcome. Coworkers congratulated me before the announcements even started. They'd seen the numbers, the client wins, the quarterly report with my name stamped on every major success. People said things like, "It's in the bag," and "Carter has no choice but to promote you." And every time someone said it, I caught Carter watching me from across the room, jaw tight, eyes calculating, like praise itself was an insult. On Wednesday, he called me into his office. Same fake friendly tone. Thunder, the same salesman's grin that always made my stomach twist. He shut the door like he was sealing a deal. Then he slid a crisp envelope across the desk, slow and deliberate. "You knew this was coming," he said. I opened it, expecting a promotion letter. Instead, it was a termination. Not a warning. Removal. A full, he said, eyes glued to his computer like I wasn't even human. No emotion, no pause, just practiced cruelty. I scanned the accusation list. Clang deadlines. I never missed. The client complains that it never happened. Team disruption that had no details, because it never existed. It was all fiction, polished, rehearsed, crafted with surgical precision, privileged like it came from someone who had been preparing this for months. My mouth went dry, not from guilt, from shock. I realized he hadn't just sabotaged me, he'd built an entire case against me. He forged my metrics, adjusted dates on documents, clicking email threads that proved my wins, even removed my name from shared folders where my reports used to live. This wasn't incompetence. It was a strategy. Crunch. Premeditated. HR walked in minutes later with stiff smiles that didn't reach their eyes. Quietly, they didn't ask a single question, didn't give me a chance to explain, didn't look at the real data. They slid the exit papers toward me like they'd rehearsed the gesture, like this whole thing was an event they were waiting for. I could see Carter standing behind them, arms crossed, enjoying every second. He had won, or at least he thought he had. As I packed up my desk, people watched with soft eyes and half-broken whispers. No one could understand how someone top-ranked yesterday could be fired today. Carter walked by slowly, hands in his pockets. He leaned in just enough so HR couldn't hear. "Don't take it personally," he whispered. "Business is business." But the smirk on his face wasn't business. Condemned. It was vengeance, jealousy, fear of my success dressed up as corporate policy. When the elevator doors closed behind me, my humiliation boiled hotter than the anger. I replayed every moment I'd ignored, every gaslight, every missing file, every suspicious mistake. He hadn't pushed me out. He had planned this, architected it, executed it. My hands shook all night, but not from fear, from clarity, from the sudden realization of exactly what he'd done and what he'd taken. And as that realization settled like fire in my chest, something inside me changed, quietly, permanently, because that was the day. Something finally snapped. I started small. Not with rage, not with revenge, just with timestamps on my project folders, the kind of details no one bothers checking unless they're desperate. Submerged. And there it was. Edits made at 2:13 a.m. Hours when I wasn't online. Hours when my laptop was literally powered off. A cold spark ran through me. Someone had tampered with my files. I opened the archived email storage next, dug into metadata like I was peeling back skin. And buried beneath the surface were deleted threads, actual client praise, approvals, confirmations, emails that should have been proof of my wins, erased. Emails that would have saved me, buried. I took screenshots, every page, every timestamp, screen recording running in the corner like a silent witness, because the truth was already forming in my head. My underperformance didn't exist. Then a coworker messaged me privately, someone who never messaged anyone about anything. She wrote, "Offline. Check the shared drive. Look at folder 17. Don't tell anyone I told you." I opened it, and my chest tightened. Inside were older versions of my reports, the drafts I'd written, edited, refined, except my name had been replaced. Carter's initials sat in the author field like he'd been the one burning midnight oil. He didn't just sabotage me, he stole from me, stole my work, stole my credit, stole my promotion. I recorded everything, scrolling through file history, screen by screen, watching my name disappear piece by piece like he'd erased me in real time. He'd been stealing my work for months, but the real break came next. The one piece of evidence I never expected to find: the server logs. The system stored every login, every access, every digital footprint. All I had to do was request my activity history. When the file opened, my hands actually froze. Someone logged in under my name during the week I was on vacation. A week I spent in a remote cabin with no Wi-Fi, no service, no chance I could have touched the company system. IT verified the login location. "Carter's office," they said, voice flat, like it wasn't a bomb to me. I saved the digital trail. Every IP address, every timestamp, every access point. He forged my performance decline. Then a client reached out, someone I had built an entire project with. They sent a voice note. "I emailed praise to your boss. Did he forward it to HR?" He hadn't. Of course he hadn't. He archived it, buried it, pretended the praise never existed. I dug into the server backup, Quadraware and the missing email sitting deep in the archive like a trapped scream. Then something unexpected happened. A message from a name I didn't recognize. An ex-employee. Her first line said everything. "Flooring. He did this to 2 people before you." Shuffled screenshots, email chains, and HR notes. Even a settlement document with a confidentiality clause. Carter had made careers disappear before mine. It was his pattern, his habit, his bombshell. This wasn't a firing. It was a pattern. I gathered everything into one folder, unpredictable warhead. I named it Cartergate, because if he wanted to play dirty, I was bringing an explosion. But the final piece, the one that turned my case from strong to lethal, kissed an audio file, withdrawing he didn't mean to keep. Kremlin in a buried project directory, a stray meeting recording, and when I hit play, his voice filled my room. Bragging, laughing, telling someone he blocks promotions before people get delusional, talking like ruining careers was a hobby, a game he always won. I sat there listening, every word sharpening into anger. He'd ended me with a smile. He had no idea what kind of storm he'd triggered in return. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was justice loaded like a weapon. Because now, invoked wasn't just solid, it was radioactive, confiscated, and the courtroom was about to feel the blast. The deeper I dug, the uglier it got. Every new file felt like a fresh slap I hadn't seen coming, because that's when I realized something was wrong with my warning letter. The signature. The handwriting wasn't mine, not even close. The signature on my warning letter was forged, not copied, not mimicked. Forged. Deliberately. Then the client called me back. His voice was tight with confusion. "I never sent a complaint," he said. "I actually praised your work." Wireless. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't a mix-up. Carter wrote the complaint himself, fabricated it, stamped my name under fake anger like it was nothing. And the hits kept coming. HR slipped up one afternoon, speaking too quickly, too casually. "Carter asked us to prepare a file months ago," one of them said. "Cancel." Then she froze like she wished she could swallow the words back down. Off record or not, the truth was out. They were building my downfall long before they fired me. I opened the KPI logs again, this time with admin access. The edits glowed like crime scene markers. Changes to targets. Targets to metrics. Metrics to improvement notes I never saw. The logs didn't lie. He changed my KPIs without approval, moved the finish line every time I got close, then punished me for not reaching it. And just when I thought I'd uncovered everything, the backup drive betrayed him. He must have thought deleting drafts meant they vanished forever. But the system kept everything, even the versions he tried to bury. Old documents surfaced, original dates. My name is in the author field. Carter's edits layered over mine like fingerprints on a weapon. Xiaomi, he never expected the backup drive to store deleted drafts, but it did. Every file, every change, every lie. And with each revelation, one thing became painfully clear. Carter didn't slip up. He orchestrated every inch of my downfall. And now? The twists weren't protecting him anymore. They were building the perfect case against him. The kind he couldn't talk his way out of. The kind he couldn't smile through. The kind that ends careers. Loudly. The judge walked in with a stare that didn't need volume. Cold. Precise. Sharp enough to slice through concrete and excuses. No greetings. No pleasantries. Just a heavy silence that told everyone in the room, lie once, and you're done. Carter sat across from me, stiff and upright, shaft locked, suit perfect, pretending confidence like it was armor. He tried to look unfazed, tapping a pen, adjusting his tie, smirking like this was a minor inconvenience. But the moment my attorney unlatched the first folder, that thick, overloaded folder, Carter's expression cracked. The papers hit the table with a sound that felt like a warning shot. Digital logs, printouts, smack shots, receipts. The judge's eyes narrowed. Carter's hands stopped moving, and every person in that room felt the shift. A quiet, electric tension snapping into place. This wasn't a meeting. This wasn't a discussion. Forensics started the second that folder opened, and Carter was already losing. My lawyer tapped the keyboard once, and the first screenshot filled the courtroom monitor. A single timestamp glowed in the corner, pulsing like a heartbeat. 2:13 a.m. A time I was nowhere near the system. Carter leaned forward, eyebrows knitted, pretending confusion so hard it looked painful. He tilted his head like the numbers were written in another language, fake innocence dripping off him like cheap cologne. The judge didn't blink. "Mr. Carter, were you aware of these logins?" Carter responded too quickly. "No." Flat. Practiced. A lie so thin it nearly folded in half. Flooded didn't argue. He didn't need to. He opened the next folder, and then another, and then another. Deleted emails. Altered metrics. Server logs with his ID over actions he claimed never happened. The judge leaned closer. The gallery whispered. Carter shifted in his seat, a bead of sweat forming at his temple. Then the audio file played. His voice echoed through the courtroom speakers. Loud, crisp, unmistakably him. Mocking me. Mocking past employees. Blankets about blocking promotions before they get delusional. Bragging about ruining careers like it was comedy night. Gasps erupted. A woman in the gallery whispered, "Oh my God." Carter's lawyer shot to his feet. "Objection!" Fingered. The judge didn't even look at him. Overruled. Sharp, but final. Cold enough to freeze the world. My lawyer stepped forward. "Explain the vacation day login," he said. No anger, just a scalpel disguised as a question. Carter opened his mouth, breaking it, opened it again. Well, there must have been some mix-up." He stuttered like he was learning how to speak for the first time. His collar tightened, his face reddened, and that confident posture he walked in with? Gone. Then came the coworker, the one who messaged me in secret. She took the stand with shaking hands and a spine made of steel. "Carter told me to reroute praise emails," she said. "Direct them to him, not HR." The judge's eyebrows lifted, slow, controlled, dangerous. A flame behind glass. Her gaze slid to Carter like she was looking at a ticking bomb. Before Carter could spin it, my lawyer called the next witness, the ex-employee. She held a folder thick with settlement paperwork. "He did this to me," she said, "and to another colleague before me." Her voice didn't waver. Her documents matched mine line for line. Same patterns, same manipulations, same Carter. Carter shook his head aggressively. No, that's not accurate. She's twisting." But the evidence didn't twist. It landed. Hard. Perfectly aligned. My lawyer dropped the forged warning letter onto the judge's bench. "Compare the signatures." The judge zoomed in. Her eyes narrowed. "This is identical to your writing, Mr. Carter." Carter's throat clicked as he swallowed. He tried to recover, tried to shift blame. "HR handled that. Ask them." Brushed HR was already shaking their heads. "Prescribe. We didn't write that letter. We didn't sign it. We were following documentation provided to us." Carter's jaw dropped an inch. His face drained to an unhealthy shade of pale, desperation replacing arrogance. Then the server administrator took the stand, calm, neutraled, holding a laptop like a loaded weapon. He pointed to the logs. "These edits were made using Mr. Carter's admin access," he said. "He requested unauthorized entry into the plaintiff's account." Carter's face turned blotchy red, then ghost white, then something between panic and nausea. His lawyer sputtered. Technical issues, glitches." The admin shook his head. "No error logs exist. These weren't glitches. These were intentional edits." A murmur rolled through the room. Carter slumped back, eyes darting around like exits might magically appear. The judge's gaze locked onto him, cold, unblinking, final. A look that stripped him down to the truth he'd been running from. Then came the last witness, the client, the one whose praise email Carter buried. He raised his hand and told the court, "Yes, I sent positive feedback about the plaintiff. Carter never forwarded it." Carter snapped. He slammed his hand on the table. "This is being blown out of proportion. It was miscommunication." The judge lifted one hand. Just one. The entire room fell silent in a heartbeat. Carter's voice died mid-sentence. "Mr. Carter," she said, each word sharp enough to leave marks, "your actions show a deliberate pattern of retaliation, fraud, and professional sabotage." The room froze. Breath held. No one moved. Then she delivered the number, the judgment, the blow he could never recover from. $500,000. Carter's mouth fell open. His lawyer sank in his seat. Someone in the gallery whispered, "He's done." "And," the judge continued, "mandatory correction of the plaintiff's employment record." Carter didn't just lose, he ruptured. Right there, in front of everyone. His career didn't collapse quietly. It broke loudly, spectacularly, publicly. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I didn't feel small. I felt the truth landing exactly where it belonged, restless on top of him. The judge didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her words cut cleaner than anything Carter had tried to twist. "This wasn't incompetence," she said, staring straight through him. Carter flinched like the sentence hit bone. His lawyer looked down, already defeated. "It was calculated retaliation, and you will pay for it." No echo, no hesitation, just a verdict that landed like a final door slamming shut on his entire career. I walked out of that courtroom lighter than I'd felt in years. Not relieved, not victorious, just free. Yeah, the money mattered, sure. $500,000 can fix a lot of damage. But it wasn't the check that made my chest unclench. It was getting my name back, my record back, my dignity is back. Carter didn't look at me when I passed him. He couldn't. His eyes stayed glued to the floor, like the tiles were the only thing left holding him up. His career wasn't slipping. It was collapsing in real time behind him. Every lie exposed, every trick documented, every shortcut turned into evidence. I didn't need the promotion he stole anymore. By then, I'd already built something better, something without his shadow, his control, his games. My success finally belonged to me, completely. I stepped outside, inhaled, and felt something settle inside me. Not revenge, not pride, just the quiet satisfaction of knowing that the truth didn't stay buried. Authenticate to say justice takes time, flooring, it moves slowly, that it whispers. But that day, Justice didn't whisper. It arrived, unmistakable, undeniable, and final. And it ended the story exactly the way it should. If this story hit you, make sure you subscribe for more ruthless, unstoppable courtroom justice.